Hello everyone. Let's do an interesting story with which the emotions and the memories of the author is attached. And the story is Quality, 5th chapter from your Honeycomb book. The author, John Galsworthy, was born on 14th August 1867 and he died on 31st January 1933. He was an English novelist and playwright. Now, what is this playwright? Playwright is a person who writes plays or skits. He won Nobel Prize in Literature in 1932. The story Quality is about a boot maker, a person who makes boots or shoes, who is passionate about his work. The story is about the personal experience of the author and the attachment he had developed for the shoe shop and the Gessler brothers. The Gessler brothers are Germans, so you will find a different accent of English in the dialogues. Now let's start reading the content of the chapter. Quality by John Galsworthy. Can a shoemaker be called an artist? Now, here the chapter opens with a question for you all to ponder. Can you call a shoemaker an artist? Yes, if he has the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist, and the same respect for it too. Mr. Gessler, a German shoemaker settled in London, is a perfect artist. Read the story to see how he devotes his life to his art. Quality by John Galsworthy. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth because he made my father's boots. So I here refers to the author himself, John Galsworthy. John Galsworthy is telling that he knew the shoemaker. He knew him from his extreme youth, means when he was very young. Why he knew him? Because this shoemaker used to make his father's boots. So he knew the shoemaker from his extreme youth. He lived, this bootmaker lived with his elder brother in a shop which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. Now, what is by street? By street means the street or the road which is not the main road, okay, which is not the main road, but it's in the fashionable part of London. Fashionable part means this part of London is full of fancy stores and malls where many people visit for their shopping. The shop had a certain quiet distinction. Now, when we say a fashionable street, when you go to any fashionable street, you will see all kind of forms and shows. All the shops would be beautifully decorated and it will be very big and attractive. But this shop in this by street of the fashionable part of London is a certain quite distinction. Now, what is distinction? It's a shop with difference. Now, let's see what is this difference. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Gessler Brothers, and in the window a few pairs of boots. This shop, very humble. It had no pomp and show, no decorations, no fancy things to attract its customer. Okay, this shop had only the name of Gessler Brothers, that's all. And in the window, just few pairs of boots. Otherwise, whenever you go to any shop, you will see the shop is full of variety of things. But in this shop, there were only few pairs of boots. Okay, I'll just put a question for you all. If you go to market, in which kind of shop you would like to go? The fancy shop or the humble shop like Mr. Gessler's shop? Very humble, not very fancy, and having just few pairs of boots. Would you like to go to a shop like this? Okay. He made only what was ordered, and what he made never failed to fit. The thing is, he used to make shoes only on order. Okay, without order, he wouldn't prepare and keep. And what he made never failed. He used to make shoes of perfect fitting that will never fail to fit. To make boots, such boots as he made, seemed to me then, and still seems to me, mysterious and wonderful. And autumn, John Galsworthy used to think the kind of shoes that Mr. Gessler makes are really, it's a mystery that how this person can make such wonderful shoes just with hands without any missionaries. Okay, and he used to find it very mysterious. I remember well my shy remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. John Galsworthy recalls an incident when he just stretched his youthful, that is very young, beautiful, tender foot towards the shopkeeper, and he remarked something. Isn't it awfully hard to do it, Mr. Gessler? He's asking, isn't it like, making the shoes and taking your customer's leg, trying to fit it in his leg? Isn't it awfully hard? And his answer, given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard, it is an art. What he said? It is an art, which means it is an art. Now you can see the distinction of the accent of Germans and normal English people. Okay, so he said it is an art. Okay, making shoes and doing all this is an art, is what the answer that came out of Mr. Gessler. And when you are saying redness of his beard, these German people have the natural hair and beard color as red. Okay. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly. Okay, what the author is telling that it was not possible for him to go to Mr. Gessler's shop. Now, when you buy one or couple of pairs of shoes, when would you go to buy next? When your shoes or boots retire. That is, they are no more good for use. Then only you will go to the shop. Now, here the author is telling it was not possible to go to this shop very often. Why? Because the shoes made by Gesslers lasted very long. Having something, you can see the simple shop. Okay, very old and worn out, and only the headboard carried the name of Gessler Brothers, and you can see here just few pairs of shoes in the showcase. So what they are saying, having something beyond the temporary, some essence of boot stitched into them. He's telling the boots that were made by Gesslers had something beyond the temporary. It used to last terribly. One went in, not as into most shops, but restfully, as one enters a church and sitting on the single wooden chair waited. Here, the author is telling the feeling of entering into the shop is like entering into a church. Okay, when you go to your any malls, when you go to any shop which is very popular in your area, you will find hundreds of many people standing there to buy many things, and there would be no peace around. People would be chattering and very busy kind of shops. But the author is telling entering into Gessler Brothers' shop was like entering into a church. It used to be very silent because rarely any people would go there. Though the shoes made by Gesslers were the best shoes in the town, but still, we'll find out why people were not going to those shops. Okay, later on. And sitting on the single wooden chair, there was only one single wooden chair. They used to sit there and wait for guestless to come and attend them. A guttural sound, and the tip-tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without coat, a little bent, in leather apron, with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dream of boots. So, once you go and sit there, settle down there, you will hear guttural sound, very harsh sound, because the work would be going there in the background, and then somebody would be coming down the stairs, wooden stairs, that is with the sound of tip tap, the sound which is made with the slippers. Okay, and would stand before you, and the one would be without coat. I'll just show you the image here, like this person wearing one old apron, okay, and his sleeves rolled back, folded back, uh, untidy, without coat, and would be blinking as if awakened from some dream. He would be blinking like this. The quality of these brothers were like they were always into their thoughts, always in how to improve the quality, how to improve the design. They're always lost in the world of creation of boots. So they used to come and stand in front of you just like as if they are out, just they have just come out of their dream. Okay, and I would say, how do you do, Mr. Gessler? So, first remark he would do is, how do you do? He will just inquire about his well being. Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? So, the author wanted Russian leather boots. Without a word, he would leave me retiring whence he came. Okay, so once you put forward your demand that whatever you want to make him to make, he would just quietly retire. Whence means from what part or source you have come, or retiring to the place from where he came. Okay, whence he came, or into the other portion of the shop. He would either go to the place from where he came or to some other part of the shop. And I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Now, again, what is incense? Incense is a spice that is burned in churches just to get to have a nice fragrance all around. Okay, that is incense. If you remember, in the previous paragraph also, the author is comparing this shoemaker's shop as church, and now again he is comparing it with a church in the sense of telling that the smell around was like of incense. Soon he would come back holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. Now this Mr. Gessler, who retired to whence he came, he would come back with a piece of golden brown leather. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, "What a beautiful piece!" Beautiful piece means beautiful piece. Okay, he would be admiring whatever he makes, and he admires the leather. You can see the depth of passion he has for his work, for his tools, for whatever he uses. Okay, so he would be, his eyes would be fixed, and he would say, "What a beautiful piece." When I too had admired it, he would speak again. So after, the author would also say, "Yeah, it is really beautiful." After that, he would say, "When do you want them?" Okay, when do you want them? That is, when do you want them? And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." The author would say, "You give me as soon as possible, but at your convenience." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight." Fortnight means tomorrow, fortnight. Now, what is fortnight? Fortnight is a period of 2 weeks. Okay, so when you say tomorrow fortnight means fortnight from tomorrow, that is almost after 15 days you can get it. Or if he were his elder brother, so here you can see If the younger brother is standing and saying, he will just decide for the date that when he can deliver it. But if elder brother were in his place, he would say, I will ask my brother. That is, I will ask my brother. He won't give a confirmation until and unless he discuss with his younger brother. Then I would murmur, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gessler. Good morning, he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand. And as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. So, after the day is fixed, the material is fixed, this author would say, thank you, and he would say good morning, bid farewell to him, and Mr. Gessler would also say good morning, and when he would just turn back to go out of the shop, he can hear the tip tap sound of his slippers. He would be going upstairs to his workshop, to his dreamland, to make the boots. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, Mr. Gessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know. So he's telling that there was an incident when I just mentioned Mr. Gessler that the pair of boots that he made for me last time, it creaked. Now what is creaked? Creaked is a kind of sound, harsh sound, which is made when you put pressure on it. Okay, some kind of slippers or shoes also make that kind of creaking sound, if you have ever made out. When you just put pressure on your left leg, your left shoe will creak. When you put pressure on your right leg, your right shoe will creak. Okay, this is what Mr. Gessler remarked one day. John Galsworthy remarked to Mr. Gessler. He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement, then said, it shouldn't be have creaked. That is, it shouldn't have creaked. Now, once the remark was done by John Galsworthy, the author, Gessler was like he was hurt somewhere. Like, I'll give you a simple example. If your mother cooks something for you with lots of dedication and with lots of interest, she cooks something and you try to figure out that something is less or it's not that tasty, how your mother would feel? She'll be like little upset hearing that after making so much of effort and making this thing for you, you are trying to point out mistakes in it. The same happened here with Mr. Gessler. He was not ready to accept that the thing that he made was not proper. So he waited for the author to withdraw his remark. And then when the author did not respond, he said it shouldn't have creaked. It did, I'm afraid, is what author said. You got them with before they found themselves. He's telling you got them wet before they found themselves. That is, did you wet the shoes before time? I don't think so. At that he lowered his eyes, as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. Now, the author felt guilty that I shouldn't have made such a remark to Gessler, who is in love with his work. I shouldn't have done this. Send them back, he said. I'll look at them. He said, send them back, and then I will just check if I can make any repair to it. Some boots, he continued slowly, are bad from birth. He said, some boots are bad from birth. From the beginning itself, from the material itself, some boots are like this only. They are bad. If we can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill. He said, if I'm not able to fix the problem, I'll just take it off your bill. That is, from the next bill, I'll deduct the money of the shoes and I'll keep it with myself. Once, only once, I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. Okay, once what happened, absent-mindedly, without giving so much of thought, he just went to Mr. Gessler's shop without seeing that he is wearing a shoes which is not made by Gessler, and he had to purchase it in emergency from a very big company, from a very big shop. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. So that day he took the order, but he did not show him the quality of leather which he usually used to show. This made him realize that I made a blunder entering into the shop without a shoe that is made by Kessler. Okay. At last he said, "Those are not my boots," he said. The shoes that you're wearing, those shoes are not my boots." The tone was not one of anger, nor of sorrow, not even of contempt, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. So he's telling that Mr. Gessler was not angry at seeing that he is wearing a boot that is not his, but the way he spoke froze author's blood. Like, your parents would be frequently buying some dress material or groceries from some particular shop, but if you happen to buy from some other shop and that fixed shop person comes to know, he'll be thinking that when I'm providing the best service to this person, why he should go to some other shop. This was the feeling that Gessler had that time by seeing John Galsworthy wearing some other kind of shoes. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. Okay, so the one who is expert in making something can find out just by looking at it what the flaws is. So he just put his finger on the side of the boot where it was not comfortable to John Galsworthy. "It hurts you there," he said. He said, "It hurts you at this particular part. Those big worms have no self-respect." He's telling those big firms have no self-respect. And then, if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. After this, something happened, and the shopkeeper, who is actually he never opens up to any of his customer, just make the dealing and that's all. No person discussions would be there, but at this point the shopkeeper just opened himself and he spoke for long and very bitterly. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade. So this was the only moment when the author found him discussing about the hardships that Gessler brothers underwent. "They get it all," he said. "They get it by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this presently. I've no work. Every year it gets less. You will see." What he's saying, they get it all. That is all the orders these big firms get. They get it by advertisement and not by work. Their quality of work is very poor, but they attract the customers by their beautiful advertisements. They take it away from us who love our boots. They take it, all the orders they take from those who love it. It comes to this. Presently, I have no work. Now, because of them, presently I have no work. Every year it gets less. With the passing time, the work is getting lesser and lesser. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So the author is telling that after this all this remark, the author noticed something, that is the hardships of the Gessler brothers, or basically all the cottage industry people, or those who are working from their home. that what is lined face here? Lined face is the lines or wrinkles on the face due to old age or tiredness or worry. Now the author is telling, I've seen the worry on his face for the first time when he opened up. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill-omened boots, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. The author tried to explain that how this bad, just to reduce the pain of this Gessler brothers, but he couldn't change the impression or the feelings or the sadness of the bootmaker, Mr. Gessler. So what he thought, just to comfort them, he ordered, in few minutes, he ordered many pair of boots so that he can pay him some money and help him in that way. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. As usual, those boots lasted for more than as usual, and then he was not able to go to the shop for nearly 2 years. From this paragraph onwards, we will read in the next video. So we have almost read half of the chapter, and we can see how skilled Gessler brothers were. Though their boots were the best boots in the town, due to lack of advertisement, they were not popular and had very few customers. And this life was full of, and the life was full of struggle. There are many words or phrases like street, by street, distinction, lasted terribly, guttural, retiring, whence, fortnight, lined face. Practice them and improve your vocabulary. Thank you.